Hello, everyone, and welcome to Caribbean Maths Academy. It's your favorite maths teacher, Mistress Dawkins here.
So we are still on graph, unit 5, lesson 27, and today we are going to do some mixed graph questions where we do some CSEC practice questions. It's nothing hard, but we're just gonna get into it because in our next lesson, which is lesson 28, you will be doing a little mock exam. So take your time and go through this session and try and understand as much as you can. So let's get into it. But before we do anything else, we have got to do our maths memory minute. That's right. So in our previous lesson, we did Cartesian plane, we did coordinates, table of value, we had gone through plotting points, we have learned the slope of the gradient, the equation of a straight line, which is y equal mx plus c, and we have also learned how to draw the graph using the straight line equation without having to do up a table of values. So if you don't remember any of these, you might want to take a step back and watch a few videos leading up to this one. So your learning objective for today is that you should be able to draw a graph on a straight line confidently, find the gradient from 2 points, identify the y-intercept, interprets information from graph, and solve mixed CSEC graph question. These are things that we have already done. So today's lesson really is just to concrete it all in so you'd be prepared for your mock exam rather in the other lesson to come. So let's start with question 1, and it says drawing a graph. Draw the graph of y equal x plus 2. The first thing that you should do is to identify your gradient and identify your y-intercept. So when you look at y equal x plus 2, there is an invisible 1 beside your x. And that tells you that m, and remember m means gradient, so m is 1, and your y-intercept is equal to 2. Once you find your y-intercept, you know that your first point is going to be 0, 2, 2. So keep that in mind. So you find your origin, which is 0. I'm on the graph now. I don't know if you're seeing that. And then you find 2 on your y-axis. And here it is. So this is your first point. You know that your gradient is 1, so you are going to move 1 up, 1 across. You are rising 1, you are running 1. So take it from your first point, which is here. You're going to go 1 up, 1 across, 1 up, 1 across, 1 up, 1 across, 1 up, 1 across. And you can keep doing this and end up with an extreme tall line that is as tall as the graph is in that region. And you simply get your ruler and you connect those dots. I'm sorry about that. Remember, when you draw your line, you want a nice smooth line. So there you have drawn the graph for y equal x plus 2, sorry. And remember to always label your graph. So you draw the graph for this equation. You should label your line y equal x plus 2. That's not minus, that's an equal sign. So let's get into question 2. So here we are going to find the gradient, and we are given two coordinates that the line has passed through. So let's go ahead. The first thing that you do is to label your points, or you label your digits, whichever. So let's do that here. for our first coordinate, we know that 2 is equal to x1 and 5 is equal to y1. For your second coordinate, 6 is equal to x2 and 13 is equal to y2. Your formula is y equal, sorry, that should be m. M equal y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you go ahead and you just substitute out. So y2 is 13 minus 5 over 6 minus 2, and that gives you 8 over 4. And from here you simplify. 4 into itself one time, 4 into 8 goes 2 times. So m is equal to 2, and that's that. So for question 3, it is asking us to identify the y-intercept and also to state the coordinate of the y-intercept. I'm always saying intercept. It's intercept. So let's go. Looking at the equation, you know that your y-intercept is 7. So you put your 7 there. And it says, what is the coordinate for the y-intercept? Whenever you find your intercept where the line crosses the y-axis, it is always 0 for x. So x is always 0 at that time. So your coordinate would be 0, 7. And that would be your first point on the line. So that's pretty simple. I know you know this already. Okay, so number 4 says complete the table. And you are given the equation y equal to x minus 1. You are given the values of x, and it asks you what are the coordinates. This question requires you to do the calculation, which includes substitution of x. So let's go. Y equal 2, and we are starting with negative 2. So x is negative 2 minus 1 equals 2 2's 4. So we are at negative 4 minus 1, and that gives us negative 5. If you are having issue with your operation, you need to let me know and I will clarify that up for you. Moving on to our second digit for x, y equal to when x is negative 1 minus 1 equal 2 1's 2. So that would be negative 2 minus 1, that gives you negative 3. Y equal to when x is 0 minus 1 equal 2 times 0 is 0 minus 1 is still negative 1. Y equal to positive 1 minus 1 equal, and that's going to give you positive 1. 2 1's 2 minus 1, leave you with 1. And we are down to 2 minus 1 equal 2 2's 4 minus 1 gives you positive 3. And here you have your value for y. All of these are your value for y. So you simply just write them in your table of value. So you'll have negative 5, negative 3, negative 1, positive 1, and 3. So your coordinates would be negative 2, negative 5, negative 1, negative 3, 0, negative 1, and 1 to 1, and 2 to 3. Those are your coordinates, and if you are plotting your graph, These are the points that you would find on your graph to draw your straight line. Interpretation. A graph passes through the points and we are given 0 to 4, 2 to 8, 4 to 12, and it says, what is the y-intercept? Does the graph rise or does it fall? Without plotting these points, you should be able to kind of answer these questions. One, you look at your y value, and 4, 8, and 12 is your y value. And if you notice that it keeps increasing and it's in positive, so right away that should tell you that your graph is rising because the value of it keep going up, so it's positive, keep going up. And for the y-intercept, any point that you see with a 0 for x and a value for y, that's your y-intercept. So if you see 0, 7, your y-intercept is 7. And when y is 7, x is 0, this is your intercept. If you plot it on the graph, you will see that that's really what it is. So let's go ahead and plot it on the graph. Let me erase this so you can see. All right. 0 to 4. So we are at our origin for 0 and we rise to 4. Then we go 2 to 8. And if we were to go 4 to 12, it would take us somewhere way up there. I don't know if you can see that little dot up there in the title of the page. So that's where a point would take us. And if you were to draw your line, oopsie, there you go. So now that we have connected our dots, you can see that our y-intercept is at 0, 4 because that's where the line crosses the y-axis, 0, 4. So your y-intercept is 4. Does the line rise or does it fall? It rises because each time we enter a point, we realize that we are going higher up on the graph. And that tells you that the line is rising. It's common for mistakes to be made, but we work on these mistakes so we don't make them again. So what I want you to do is to always substitute one point into the equation to check your graph. So for example, you are given y equal to x plus 1. You're going to enter the point 2 to 5. That means you have identified your y-intercept and you're going to put your first dot, right? Once you put your first dot, you are going to find your gradient and you're going to do your find another maybe 2, 3 points on that line. Once you have found those coordinates, and let's say you land at 2, 5, you are going to substitute 2 where x is to find your value for y. And if it equals to 5, then it tells you that your graph is correct. In other words, 2, 2 plus 1 equal 5. So it is saying that when x is 2, this 2 here, when x is 2, y is 5, and that's this 5 right here. So if you add work this and you got a different number where 5 is, then it means that your line would have been incorrect. So that's what it is saying. So you can check that. Once you are given the equation, you are asked to draw your graph. you plot your points on your graph. Then you're going to take one of those coordinates and you are going to simply substitute it in your equation to see if you get the correct answer. Now it's your turn to try one, or let's do this one together rather. Draw the graph for y equal negative x plus 3. What is the gradient? What is the y-intercept? Does the line rise or does it fall? So looking at it, we see that our gradient is 1 or negative 1, negative 1. The y-intercept is 3. And the question is, does the line rise or does it fall? Because your gradient is negative, you are going to reduce. So it tells you that your line will be falling. So let's go. We are going to use our gradient of negative 1. So we are falling by 1. Oopsie. And we run by 1. So let's go. Our y-intercept is 3. So we are at 0, 3. Here we are. Now, if we were to fall by 1 and run by 1, this is where our point would be. And if we were to fall by 1, run by 1, this is where our third point would be. Fall by 1, run by 1. That's it. Fall by 1, run by 1. Fall by 1, run by 1. And there you have your line. This thing keep popping up. So there you have your line. Now, if you want to check if it's correct, you take a point from your graph that you have. Let's say we are at positive 1, positive 2. So x is 1 and y is 2. Don't mind me erasing here to get some space. So when x is 1, y is 2, you're going to take your equation to prove this. In other words, your equation to y is supposed to equal to 2 at the end of your equation, which is this 2. So we take your y equal negative 1 plus 3 equal, and that gives you positive 2. So it tells you that the equation is right. If you want to check another point, you go on your graph that you've plotted and you take another point. So here we are at 3, 0. So x is 3 and y is 0. It means that when you are finished, y, this equation should equal to 0. That's what it is saying. So let's plug in our points in our equation and see if we are going to get 0, which is this 0 right here. So y equal negative 3 plus 3 equal 0. There you have it. So that's how you check if your answer is correct. And as I've said, your line is falling because you are reducing by 1 each time. Negative means you are going downwards. Practice questions. I'm going to leave these questions here for you. You can do them now, you can do them later. But go ahead, give it a try, and you can leave your answer in the comment below. If you're having any challenges, just leave a comment and I will address your concern. So for our CXC exam challenge, it says a line has a gradient of -2 and a y-intercept of 6. Write the equation of the line, plot the graph, state where the graph crosses on the y-axis. So your equation of the line is going to be y equal -2x plus 6. And once you have identified that, you are going to plot your graph. You can go ahead and state where the graph cross on the y-axis, which would be 6 to 0. So this would be 0 to 6, and we are going to prove that to you. So let's go ahead and plot our graph at 0 to 6. So here we are on our graph. Okay. Now, because our gradient is -2, it tells us that our slope is going downwards. So we are going to keep reducing by 2. So from this point where we are on the graph, you are going to go down 2 and 1 across. So you go 1, 2, 1 across. Then from this point, you're going to go 1, 2, 1 across. From here, go 1, 2, 1 across. Then you go 1, 2, 1 across. 1, 2, 1 across. And there are your points. You get your ruler and you try to keep your line neat and as straight as possible. I'm here pressing my ruler on my screen, so please bear with me. All right. So there we have our line. You are going to label your line y equal -2x plus 6. Okay. So we have written our equation of the line, which is here. We plotted our graph, which is here. And we state the graph crosses the y-axis at 0 to 6. Now, to prove that this is correct, you simply take a point from your graph and you're going to plug it into your equation. So let's take 2 to 2. So when x is 2, y equals 2. It means that y equal -2x plus 6 is going to equal to +2. Let's plug in our x value, which is also 2. So y equal -2, 2 plus 6 equal to 2, because -2 times +2, it's going to give you -4, and when you add 6 to it, you are going to get 2. So that's how we get that right there. So it is correct. If you want to be certain, you can take another point and do a second check just to make sure. But there you have that. So graphing checklist. Before submitting a graph, ask yourself these questions. Did I label the x-axis and the y-axis? It means you have your graph. Always label your y and your x. That's what you're checking for. Did I use an appropriate scale? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're checking. Did I plot all points correctly? So you want to double check that. Did I use a ruler? If you don't have a ruler to use, check if that your line is straight and it is passing precisely through the coordinates correctly. Did I label the line if it is required? So you check for that as well. Make sure you label your line. When checking your graph, choose one plot point and substitute it into the equation. That's what I've said. If the equation is true, then your graph is correct. So you are in exam and you are given a graph question. You want to read that question carefully because CSEC questions usually ask you for a graph, the gradient, the y-intercept, the equation, and interpretation. So remember, don't stop after drawing the graph. Every part of the question that they ask you, you must answer them because it will give you more marks to that. If you leave anything unanswered, you are losing out on a mark. But there is no mark lost if you make an attempt to answer the question. And with that said, we are down to the end of our lesson. It was a pleasure having you as per usual. So for today, we covered table value. We also did our refresher on plotting points. We did gradient, we did y-intercept, equation of a straight line, and we interpret the graph as well. If we have covered anything that you do not understand, you can go back and watch the videos, or you can simply leave a comment and we will absolutely address your concern. So remember, success in life isn't about being naturally gifted, it's about practicing consistently. Practice, practice, practice. So thank you for watching Caribbean Maths Academy. If you have found this lesson helpful, please like, subscribe, share it with another student, share it with a family member, a friend, just about anyone you know who is doing CXC Maths or needs some assistance in the area of maths. You can also join our free WhatsApp community where we provide daily maths tips and you can ask questions and get some assistance with whatever maths issue that you are encountering. Once again, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you for watching. Be good, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.